Hi guys, how are you doing today? Ready for some new drama I have for you today? Let's go to the first story about OP's sister, who blames OP for getting caught cheating and demands OP lets her live in her house after boyfriend kicked her out. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. So, my sister's now ex-boyfriend that dumped her, who was apparently supposed to give her all the money he made and marry her so she didn't have to work, was apparently cheating on her. That's what she told some family members. Apparently, he had become distant and not at home very much. What we found out later was she was doing these things, and when accused, she literally cried for him, thinking any of that. Too bad what happened next to her proved everything I already knew. Recently, my parents had their 40-year anniversary. Me and my husband planned to pay for them and a couple family members to have dinner at their favorite restaurant. We texted both my sister and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend said yes, but my sister had more important plans, apparently. So the thing is, nobody but me and my husband knew where we were eating out, and everyone was supposed to meet at our house and follow us to the restaurant. Well, what a crap show that was. When we got to the restaurant, my parents were super happy and thanked both me and husband, and when we walked into the lobby to sign in, something caught my husband's attention. We all had to sign the book for safety reasons, but getting my husband's attention was hard. So I looked over to what he had his attention on. I couldn't believe it. My sister's more important plans were sitting on this guy's lap, practically eating his face off. Her boyfriend saw and walked over and tapped her on the shoulder. When she turned around, he asked who this other guy was, and she said he was a friend. And when her boyfriend told her everyone saw her making out with him, she denied it. Her poor boyfriend then continued to go on about her denying cheating on him, and she literally rolled her eyes and ignored him while he talked. She then saw me standing there and said I had set her up on this date and had given her a new phone, and I had started texting this guy for her. Her boyfriend and everyone knew she was lying and told her so. And after arguing with her for a while, she started screaming, and we all got kicked out of the restaurant. She then accused me again, but this time for getting her kicked out of the restaurant. She then left with this new guy. Needless, everyone was pissed off and put off of eating, so everyone gave my mom and dad a hug, and some people hugged my sister's boyfriend and told them they are sorry this happened to him. My husband told him we would call him the next day to check on him. Everyone went home after that. The next day, in early afternoon, me and my husband were outside with our 4 kids when my husband's phone rang. My sister's boyfriend was calling to tell us my sister was extremely angry and was heading our way. Turns out, he had the locks changed on his home, and he threw everything of hers on the front lawn. When she got back to his place, she tried to get into the house and started screaming for him to open the door. He opened the window to yell down at her they were over and she needed to leave. Apparently, she kept screaming at him that they weren't finished and to let her in her home. He, after a while, went into his office to work while she screamed. After a while, she stopped and said, "I know who's to blame for this," and got into her car and peeled off, leaving her stuff on his lawn still. Well, we were waiting for her when she showed up and arranged for my mother-in-law to watch the kids until she was gone. When I opened the door, I acted like I didn't know about anything that had happened already, and she practically tried to push her way in. My husband had to come up behind me and hold the door so she couldn't open it, and she yelled at us both to let her in because she was now living with us. We told her we would let her live with us if she paid rent, but that would never happen anyway because she was toxic and would only cause more problems, and our kids don't need to see that. She then went to say we owed her for ruining her relationship, and then just went on about unnecessary crap. After a while, my husband told her we were calling the police and went to get the phone. And when he got back to the door, he pretended he was on the phone. So that's when she shut her mouth and stepped back from the door. So I took the opportunity to slam the door in her face, to which set her off more. And through the glass, I could see her literally jumping up and down, stomping her feet onto the ground, screaming again. We just walked away and left her there. After a while, someone called the cops on her, and they arrived to talk to her. I could see her pointing at my house and knew we were getting blamed. They came to the door and we told them exactly what happened. She was given a warning and sent away. Later on, I got a text message from other family members about ruining her relationship, and then apparently allowing her to live with me but not opening the door and denying her entry when she got there, which wasn't true. I tried to explain the situation to these people, but they haven't believed me. Apparently, she has been very distraught about everything. I am not wrong for doing this to her, am I? She's manipulative and entitled, and doesn't care about anyone else except herself. If things don't go her way, she throws a tantrum and starts lying and smears others like a narcissist. OP didn't do anything to her. She did it to herself and has herself to blame. So she is completely delusional, basically saying everyone didn't see what they saw. Looks like she needs help. My mom and dad divorced when I was 8. It turns out he had an affair when I was 6, and my mom couldn't take it and left. I lived 1 week at my mom's, 1 week at my dad's. My mom was pretty much always there for me, but I was often left alone at my dad's house. When I was younger, he would hire a babysitter to look after me after school. And as soon as I was 10, I was home alone after school at his place most of the time. When I was 13, my dad found out he had a kid with that affair. Her mom died due to a car crash when I was 14, so she came to live with us. From the start, she was treated a lot differently by my dad than me. Suddenly, he was home a lot more, and I swear, almost anything she would ask for, he would get. She had piles and piles of new toys. Even if I was doing something, he would expect me to drop everything and help her if she wanted something. Her mom had been pretty hardcore against junk food, so she was always asking my dad for it. He bought a bunch, which he never had before, and it became pretty much the only thing she would eat. I told my dad that I was worried, and it was unhealthy, but he brushed it off, saying he was trying to make up for not being in her life before. A doctor told him that her weight gain was worrying, so she was upset and asked for cake. So he bought her a cake, just for her, to eat over the week, he said. She finished it in one night. The other day we were going out to get takeout and then eat it at the park. And as we were driving, she threw a tantrum, saying that if I came, I would ruin the evening. We pull over, and he asked if I would do as she wanted and gave me some change to take the city bus home, without dinner. I snapped and yelled at him for always giving in to her, even when it meant bad things for me. I told them that she was spoiled rotten and that she needed to hear the word no way more. And the way he was raising her was super unhealthy, both mentally and physically. She got even more upset and started yelling at me, saying I had no regard for her feelings and that she'd had a hard life with her mom dying and needed love, not a cold-hearted and empty household. I replied and said, like the one you provided for me? Then I left to go to my mom's and haven't talked to him or stayed with him since. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not an a-hole. I think OP should consider living with her mother full-time. OP sounds old enough that her wishes might be taken into account if the custody agreement can be renegotiated. Sounds like OP is being left alone at her dad's anyway. Even if her mother works loads, she may as well be on her own at her place. OP needs to tell her mother about what happened. She definitely needs to. And make it clear she felt unsafe, left on her own, and she will not allow herself to be put in that situation again. OP can't do much about how her father treats her half-sister comparatively, but she can change how much it hurts her. So I, female 29, have a stepsister, female 30, from my dad's marriage. I'll call her Kate. A bit of context on Kate. We met 16 years ago when our parents started dating. Kate is and always has been a judgmental, entitled bee. For example, when our parents got married, she had to have a white puffy dress. She had to have the biggest room and the best things growing up. And if God forbid any of us got anything from our mom or grandparents, she'd have to get better or our stuff would disappear. If she doesn't like something, she'll say it triggers her, throws a toddler-style tantrum on social media till she gets her way. But what really makes her bad is the constant shaming she does. Off the top of my head, I can think of the times she's shamed me for being too thin, my brother for wanting to be a policeman, us for being religious, even her own sister for having a planned C-section. When called on it, she does the same thing, says she's just telling it how it is, then blaming everyone for picking on her. Her mom usually makes a scene about family and Kate's amazing honesty, which apparently is something that needs to be valued. I went to the hospital yesterday, March 31st, and shockingly found out I was 3 months pregnant with twins. I'm not going into details about my medical history, but me getting pregnant is nothing short of a miracle. I honestly never thought with my issues I'd ever be able to carry a child. Me and my fiancé cried happy tears for hours, then excitedly posted it on Facebook. The fact that it was after midnight and April Fools didn't even cross our mind. After a few calls from family, we both turned off our phones and went to bed. I woke up this morning to what I thought would be congratulations, but Kate first blocked me, then sent her followers to all my social media to give me crap. Apparently, Kate called me out to her followers for being an inconsiderate bee, for making pregnancy jokes when I should know about fertility issues, naming my private issues, and dragging me with a lot more stupid crap. This is where I might be the a-hole. Instead of calling Kate and talking to her, I blew up. I posted my scan pic saying, "Well, Kate, as ever, you have to make everything about you. I'm actually pregnant. Instead of blocking me, you should have maybe messaged me. But, as ever, your vile, sorry, real self, you took to the internet to throw a tantrum. You're a 30-year-old woman, Kate, who lives with her mother and has an allowance from mommy. Not to mention, you can't keep a friendship, because dear old real Kate can't stay faithful or out of drama for too long. Hope you won't get too offended, Kate, as I'm just being real." Long story short, Kate got a lot of backlash and deleted her social media. She's cut me off, my dad, brother, and her sister till she gets a public apology from us all. They called her on it too. Her mom is demanding I apologize to make peace, and Kate has been punished enough. So, am I an a-hole? OP is not an a-hole. OP's stepmom needs to remember who she is talking to when she wants to make demands. OP is not the one living in her house and mooching off her money. She doesn't get to boss OP around just because she's sleeping with OP's dad. If stepmom wants to demand an apology, she should start with the 30-year-old child starting fights who she actually has some power over, not the 29-year-old adult who has her life together. I don't have a relationship with my father. I severed ties with him when I was 15, after he divorced my mom for his affair partner. I told him in clear words that if he goes ahead with his relationship, I wouldn't be sticking around. He chose to marry the other woman, and I decided to cut ties. Fast forward 16 years later. I'm married to my college sweetheart. I have a 15-month-old and pregnant with my second. I don't have contact with any of my dad's family, except for a cousin. We grew up together, and she had recently gotten married. She and her new husband hosted a family gathering, and we were invited. I hadn't seen my father in the last 16 years, so when I saw him at the party with his wife and 2 teens, I chose to ignore them. I live with my husband in another country, so the relatives were very excited to see me and my baby. My cousin knows that I'm very protective about my little one, and that I trust her to not let strangers touch him, hold him if I'm not around. My father tried to initiate a conversation with my husband, and out of respect for my feelings, my husband excused himself. At one point, I left my baby in my cousin's care and told her that I was going to the washroom, telling her in no uncertain terms that strangers weren't allowed to hold my baby without me around. When I came out of the washroom, I saw my father holding my baby and his wife and teens pulling his cheeks. My baby was crying and my cousin wasn't around. I saw red. My father was faking tears and smearing kisses all over my baby's forehead, trying to soothe him, making my baby cry out louder. I was horrified. I quickly took my baby away from his hold and told him to stay away from my kid. I was too upset and didn't want to ruin the evening, so we decided to leave the party. I was disappointed with my cousin, but thought that it was for the best to leave the party quietly. Guess what I found out? My father posted about the incident on an estranged families page on Facebook, portraying him as victim whose older kids cut him out of his life and taking his grandkids away from him. He narrated the above incident and got tons of sympathetic comments. I am being made to look like a heartless monster who abandoned her aging father. Am I the a-hole? To make things clear, of course I was mad about him holding my child without my permission. But that's not all. He has been posting about me on Facebook with posts dating back to 2015, posting my childhood pictures without my consent, and revealing my identity by mentioning my name. Your kid, your rules. OP's cousin knew that OP wouldn't be comfortable with this, but did it anyway. About OP's dad, though. His relationship with OP's mother has nothing to do with his relationship with OP. OP should be grown up now and be able to see this. At 15, OP's feelings were totally valid because she didn't know better. But OP is now a mother. She knows she doesn't have to stay in a relationship that wasn't working for her just to be her kid's mother. She will always be their mother, regardless of whether she was their father's wife or not. OP should grow out of these feelings.